Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, and settle in because I have a hunt for you. Thanks for tuning in to the first video on my channel, but let's not talk about that. We got nickels in front of us. The more astute among you may notice that these nickel rolls are divided into 3 piles. I have collected 5 rolls from 3 banks local to me, 2 of which belong to the same bank but different bank locations, and the third belongs to a completely separate bank altogether. This is indicated by the little stars on the cards. The 2 on the ends both have 1 star, meaning they're from the same bank, and the bank in the middle has 2. Now you may be asking, Luke, why didn't you just mark the bank number 2 with 1 star? Why did you mark these? That's because I marked the wrong one and I'm trying to cover up my mistake. But you can mull over my mistakes later down in the comments. For now, I want to see which of these 3 banks gives us the best finds in these nickel rolls. A quick thing to point out real quick before we start. Bank 3 is rolled entirely by NR String & Son Incorporated in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Bank 2, the entirety, are Loomis wrapped rolls. Bank 1 had 4 of the NR String & Son, and they threw in a Loomis as well. So I'm thinking we had a different box where this one was pulled from than the rest of these. But that's enough talk. Let's get started with bank number 1. Roll number 1, we'll start with the Loomis, just to see what it's about. This first roll I'm going to open up live, just so you can see how I do it and what I'm looking for. I have my handy dandy little Leatherman here, just with a little point on it. It helps to get under the wrapper and peel it up nicely. And then I just pull at the sides with my fingers until it pops out and unrolls nicely. Here is what roll number 1 looks like from the edges. So what I'm going to be doing here is looking for any coins that are older and any modern coins such as 2009 that are low mintage that are worth pulling out of circulation. When it comes to these 1964 nickels, I'm really only looking for one particular type. Most United States coins you'll come across today were minted in one of 3 main locations. The primary mints were in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. There are a lot more nuances when it comes to the separate mints, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep it simple. I am only interested in 1964 nickels that were minted in the Denver Mint. You can tell they were minted in Denver based on the reverse side. If you look right next to the Monticello building, off to the right, and down by the steps, you'll see a small mark if it was minted outside of Philadelphia. As you can see in our 1964 nickel we pulled out here, it is from Denver. You can see the small Denver mint mark right next to the Monticello. The reason we're looking for these coins is because some of these 64 Denvers had a repunched mint mark. This can be done for a variety of reasons, but what it leaves behind is a sort of doubling effect, where you can see the older mint mark punch kind of stuffed underneath the newer one. We'll talk about this a little bit more at the end of the video when I put these coins under the microscope. Here I see another 1964. We're just going to check if it's a Denver, and if it is, we'll keep it. It's not. This is a good example. There's no mint mark here. This one, for example, is one that would interest me if I saw this from this end without seeing a date. You can see the color is quite a bit different from a newer coin. It's very worn down. There's not a lot of detail on the building itself. But we won't know until we flip it over. So for example, this one is a 1954, and that's great. Most collectors will hold on to any nickels that are pre-1960. Of course, you have some of them that will do 1964 and before, and others are a bit more picky and they won't even hold on to 1950s. They'll only keep 1940s and earlier. In our case, I keep anything pre-1960, so this is definitely a win for my collection. And the last coin, a 1988. So nothing too special here, but we did end up pulling something pre-1960, so that's a win. So now that you saw how I'm going to do it, I'm going to carry on with these, and if I find anything interesting, I'll turn the camera back on and show it to you. Here we go. I just pulled this 2016 out of the way to find this one staring right at me. We have another pre-60. This is a 1957, and it has a Denver mint mark, as you can see, very faintly there on the side of the Monticello. Not bad. Pre-60s, we'll take it. It's number 2 for the bank. Whoa, I didn't even see that. Oh, that's awesome. So as you saw in the last shot, I had this coin laying like this. I saw it was older, so I went to go check the date. And first off, before we even get to what's back there, 1946 is a fantastic date. We've surpassed the 50s, we're down in the 40s now. A great find. It is not a war nickel. During World War II, a lot of American nickels are made out of a percentage of silver, 35%. This one's outside that range, but if we find one, we'll teach you more about it. 1946, in legible condition. We'll take that one and set it to the side. The other thing that caught my eye is we have a foreign coin right behind it. Estados Unidos Mexicanos. Look at that. That's a beautiful design. Look at that. 2014. I believe this is a peso. It's not a centavo. Those are the really small ones. I love the design around the rim here. It's really cool. Beautiful coin. I like the 2 different metals here too. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's actually the first one I've pulled out of my coin hunt boxes. So, well, this one didn't even come from a box, just loose rolls. But that's cool. I like this. It's definitely going in the foreign collection. Another thing that we look for, and we set them aside. Collecting is about things that catch your eye and make you happy. So, this catches my eye and makes me happy. So I'm gonna keep it. All right. Let's keep going. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we have a recap of roll number 2 for Bank 1. A 1964 Denver I'm going to set aside and look at later for some errors. This is a Estados Unidos Mexicanos. I believe it's a peso. Beautiful design, definitely going into the collection. But now on to the stars of the show. Great collection finds. A 1957 Denver. Nice older coin. It's pre-60, so we keep it. And the better one, a 1946 Philadelphia. No mark over here. Moving forward, I will just do recaps of the rolls when I'm done with them. Unless there's something extraordinary in these rolls, I will bring you in the middle of the hunt. Until then, let's start searching these last 3 rolls. This one over here has been staring at me ever since I clumsily dumped the roll everywhere. So I'm curious to know what date that is, and there's also something back here that's piquing my interest. Some kind of weirdly shaped coin back there. Well, I think pretty sure it's a nickel, but we'll see what's going on with that damage behind the 85 here. First, I want to look at this. So here we have a nice worn backing. This is a good example of what I was talking about, of coins I look for that are most likely lower dates. You can barely see the columns in the middle and just the right light. It's nice and smooth. Let's see what date we have on this one. 1947. Very nice. We like that. It's very worn, but For me, it's the date that counts. I will take it. Very nice. I'll set that aside. And now I want to know what that is, because there's not many other coins here that pique my interest. I mean, I'll look at this one, but it doesn't look as worn. It's a 63. I'm more interested in what this is. Oh, it's not a nickel. Hello. 20 pence. 1982. This is a English coin. I believe the flower in the middle, that's a house mark, isn't it, for royalty? I'm not entirely up to date with my English history or anything like that, but it looks very similar to the, what do you call those? The house symbols or whatever. I don't know. Let's just flip it over, huh? There she is. Queen Lizzie II. Very nice coin. I like this. I haven't seen a pence here yet. It's a very odd shape. 1982. I forget these English coins flip weird. Same for the Canadians. Queen Lizzie II. Young head design. Very nice. You can tell it's a young head because she's young in the picture. Put that one together. I really like that. I don't have one of these yet. Very cool. Definitely going in the collection. Nothing else in that roll. Might as well do the recap while we're here. We have the 20 pence, the 1947 Philadelphia. This is a 64 Denver I pulled out just to check it later. Alright, let me set up the next roll and I'll call you in if I find something neat. That roll right there was a good example of the realities of coin roll hunting sometimes. Not every roll has a find in it. Whole bunch of junk, nothing we're interested in. But, on the bright side, we still have one more roll for this bank. Let's crack into it. That looks interesting. Alright, I'm pulling you guys back in because I found something interesting here. I saw the back of this coin, and it looks very old, so I'm curious to know if we're going to have another older date here. It definitely shows all the signs, nice and worn properly. Let's give it a flip and see what we have for a date. 1941, very nice. We'll take that. Nice coin, nice find. Moving on. Alright, unfortunately that was it for the roll, but we did have two finds. A 1941 Philadelphia. Always good to find 40s. And a 1952. I found this one, I didn't pull you guys in because it was 50s, but always nice to pull them out. 1952 Philadelphia. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude Bank 1. We went through all 5 rolls. Found some great dates. Let's do a recap. So this seems, this is unusual for me. I don't usually pull out this many good finds out of 5 rolls, so I'm not expecting this to continue for the other 2 banks. But I'm not going to complain about it. We had some really nice finds, the oldest of which is this 1941 Philadelphia. Half decent condition, although pretty worn. We will take that. A 41, a 46, 47. In the 50s column, we have 52, 54, and 57. We have a 1960 that I might hold on to, might throw away, and 2 1964s with the Denver mint mark on the back. Those we'll look at the end of the video. Also, not to forget, the 2 foreigns. I really like these designs. They're very intricate, beautifully made. And the shape of this pence is pretty neat as well. Oops, sorry Lizzie, upside down. There we go. Very nice coins. How do I flip this way? There we go. 1982, 20 pence. And let's not forget the peso, a 2014 Mexican peso. More great intricate designs. Very well made coins. I'm not going to complain about having this set aside in my collection. Alright, that does it for Bank 1. Let's see how Bank 2 and Bank 3 turn out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bank 2, I'm going to crack these open, bring you in if I find anything extraordinary. Otherwise, we'll have a recap. We'll see you in a bit. I haven't found anything else interesting yet in this first roll, but I did want to take this opportunity to show you another way to identify older coins without looking at the date. I saw this coin showing the reverse to us. As you can see, it's pretty worn, but you'll also see that there is a Denver mint mark here right next to the Monticello building. The mint mark for most modern coins is actually on the front, on the obverse of the coin. If you see the mint mark next to the Monticello building, that means it is 1964 or earlier in this design. So we can guarantee that this will be no newer than a 1964 Denver. Let's take a look at it. And that's exactly what it is, 1964 Denver. If you pull out a 1965, if it's a Denver, it'll be right here. It will not be back here. Just wanted to point that out, show you another way of identifying older coins without reading the date. The rest of roll 1 for bank number 2 was a bust. The only thing we have to show for it was that 1964 Denver, which we will check at the end. No use crying over it. Let's check the next one. Another pretty sad roll. The only thing we pulled out was this 1960. It's a Denver. We'll set it aside for now, because I did check my rolls and find that I am holding on to these for some reason. So until I come to my senses, we're going to hold on to this one too. Alright, roll number 3. Let's do it. Alright, ladies and gents, we are done with roll number 3. Nothing super special, but we did pull out a 1953. It is a pre-60, so we will take it. It is a 1953 Philadelphia. Not too bad at all. And I pulled out another 1964 Denver. On to the next roll. Roll number 4. In that fourth roll, I pulled out this very nice 1955 Denver. It has quite a bit of luster on it. It's in great shape. It's not discolored. Looks very nice. Very strong strike. It's beautiful. Definitely take that. But that was it for the roll. We got one more roll left. Let's see what's in it. Well, Bank 2 shows us not as exciting of a display as Bank 1 did, but there's still some finds for the collection. This 1953 was the oldest one we got. It's in okay shape. It's a 53 Philadelphia. Nice color on it too. This 55 actually is pretty impressive for being that old. It's got all its luster still. It's in nice condition. It's got a bunch of scratches on it, but you can't really complain for pulling it out of circulation. Denver mint mark on the back. Not a bad find. We'll definitely hold on to it. We have a 1960, two 64 Denvers, and the really ugly 64 Denver that is going to go in the ugly collection. So, that concludes Bank 2. It definitely did not meet the expectations of Bank 1. Let's see if Bank 3 can exceed Bank 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves now at Bank number 3. The expectations are pretty low after Bank number 2's poor performance. Poor performance of Bank 2. But something to keep in mind. This is Bank 3, and if you recall from the beginning, Bank 1 and Bank 3 both have 1 star, meaning they're from the same bank, different location. So maybe them being from the same bank means we'll get something close to the outcome we had at Bank number 1. These are also the same rolls, the NR String and Son Incorporated from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So maybe these are the lucky rolls. Loomis was Bank 2, less than impressive. So We'll take a look in Bank 3 and see what we can find. I'll pull you in when I find something interesting. Not gonna lie, not off to a great start for Bank number 3. Whole lot of nothing in the pile, but we did at least pull a 1956. This one's a Denver. Not in great shape, but it's a 56, and it's the date that counts. On to the next roll. Roll number 2 of Bank 3. We have a couple finds here. Less significantly, a 1964. It's a Denver though. We're going to hold on to that. This is a 1955 Denver. In decent shape. We'll take 50s. And this one I saw, it was facing this way. And I thought, man, what an ugly coin again. But, if you look close, it's got a Denver mint mark on the back. Which means it's a pre-64. I flipped it over, and it's a 1957. Absolutely take that. 3 coins for roll number 2. On to the next one. I stopped right here for a reason, and let me show you why. And you might be able to spot it. Some of the more keen of you. On the reverse of this coin, we can tell it's a bit beat up. But on the reverse here, we can see something interesting. What we learned earlier, obviously, with the mint mark on the rear, means it's a pre-64. But if you look close, it's not a Denver. And we know that the other mark is a Philadelphia, Denver. The Philadelphia one does not show up. This one is an S. And the S mint mark means it was minted in San Francisco. Generally, these are minted in way lower numbers than the other mints in Denver and Philadelphia. There's also a West Point mint, but we won't get into that right now. So this is automatically a harder coin to find, which is a good sign. The only thing left to do is to check out the date on it. It's a 1948 San Francisco. Very beat up. Very beat up, but it's nice to see an older coin with a San Francisco mint mark. I'm going to look at my book real quick. Let's look at the exact mintage numbers for this coin. So what I have right here is the official Red Book, a guidebook of United States coins. This is the 2025 version by R.S. Yeoman. The 78th edition. This is a great book, a great resource for anyone who's interested in looking for coins out of bankrolls or any coins in general. It has a lot of information. For example, I have held here the page for the nickels. If we look down here, we have a 1948 San Francisco. And over on this side, we have mintage numbers. If you'll notice, the mintage numbers for the 48S are way lower than the 48 Denver at 44.7 million and the 48 Philadelphia at 89.3 million. That is a fantastic find. 11 million is considered in the lower end of mintages, way harder to find. If you look at some of these numbers, these were silver war nickels, and they made way more than 11 million for each of these. Flip to the next page, for example. You can look at some of these other ones in the 70s, 600 million, 898 million, 500 million. But in the 40s, the numbers are generally a little bit lower, but not many of these touch 11 million, except for 42D, 39S, 39 Denver are hard to find, and some other 38s. But this is a relatively hard coin to find in the late 40s. If anything, the hardest coin to find in the late 40s. Maybe Bank 3 has some hope in it after all. Let's finish searching these. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for roll number 3 of Bank 3. And I skipped past it. It happened quick. I already flipped it over and looked at it, so I'm like, well, I'll just do the recap. There's a 1940 Philadelphia in there. Nice old Jefferson nickel. This is the 3rd year issue. Not a bad find at all. Of course, we have our 48 San Francisco About 11 million minted. A fantastic find, although a little damaged. And another 1964 Denver. That was roll number 3. Let's check out roll number 4. Roll number 4 had 2 finds in it. A 1947 Denver. Not too bad at all. We'll take it. And this one I could see from a mile away from the color. It's a 1957. I saw it this way. I just had a good feeling it was going to be old. It's a 57 Philadelphia. Those 2 came out of roll number 4. We got one more roll to go. Let's see what's in it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the conclusion of bank number 3, the last bank we have. That last and final roll had just a 1957 Philadelphia in it. That was it, which makes 3 1957s for the hunt. Going back to the oldest coin we had found was this nice 1940 Philadelphia. Not too shabby. A 1947 Denver. And we have one of each mint mark because finally we have this 1948 San Francisco with around 11 million mintages. Unfortunately, it was very damaged. It's not that crazy looks-wise, but it is a 1948 San Francisco, and we cannot get mad at that at all. The other 50s, we have a 55. I believe this one was a 56. It was 1956. And we have 264 Denvers from the bank. Let's compare these to the rest of the banks, and we'll see just who won. Well, here we are, everybody, at the end of this 15-roll hunt, split between 3 different banks, and I'll be honest, we got more finds than I was expecting at the start. I expected a lot more bust rolls than we actually had, so I'm pretty excited about this. This was a good hunt. So starting over here at bank number 1, I think we had the best finds of the hunt overall. All of the finds will be on these cards underneath, and you're welcome to pause the video and take a closer look. These are laid out exactly how these coins are laid out, so you know which one is which. I'll try to get closer up so you can take a look at those. There's a freeze frame for that if you want to take a closer look. Up here are the 1964 Denvers. You'll find them on each one. But let's focus on bank 1 for now. It's always great to pull 1940s out of these rolls. They get harder and harder to find, so I love finding them. They're one of my favorite numbers to see, is a 4 in that second to last digit spot. I mean, 3s are nice too, but sometimes we have to be happy with 4s. 52, 54, 57, and a lone 1960 Philly there in the middle. I think the stars of the show definitely are the foreigns here. We have our 1 peso, Mexican peso from 2014, and the 1982 20 pence from England is probably my favorite overall. I love the design. I'm glad that we got this weird shaped coin out of an American nickel roll in northeastern United States. Such a beautiful design. They really know what they're doing. Let's see if I flip this right this time. There we go. Got young head Queen Lizzie on there. Elizabeth II. Again, beautiful design, fantastic shape. It's a shame I don't see more of these out here. Moving over to bank number 2, the disappointment bank, we'll call it. This bank was an outlier. It was not the same as the other 2 banks. This one was also one I don't even have an account with. They were just nice enough to give me a couple rolls of nickels when I stopped in. All we have to show for it is a 1953 Philadelphia and a 1955 Denver, as well as 3 1964 Denvers, which I did check. Nothing special on those. I also checked banked 1. Nothing special on those ones either. Moving on to bank number 3, we had some good finds. This is an intermediate, I think, in between the last 2. 1940, always good to see those early 40s. Not quite a 39, but we'll take it. Star of the show for sure. 1948 San Francisco. Always great to pull S mints out, especially when they're older. As you can see here, we wrote it down. Exactly 11.3 million minted, at least according to the mint numbers. Who knows in error how many extra or fewer they made. 55 Denver and 56 Denver, as well as 3 57s, one of which was a Denver, the other 2 were Phillies. And you'll see here we found 2 1964 Denvers. So there we go. That's a recap of the hunt. I'm just messing with you. Some of you might have noticed I only have one 1964 Denver sitting here on the card where I stacked all the other ones. That is because it's under the microscope right now, and I'm going to tell you why. If we take a trip over here, you'll see my microscope, and under the blinding white light, I got it really close to this 1964 Denver, so we can zoom in on the mint mark. Go take a look up here. This is the microscope, and as you can see, we have something interesting going on with this mint mark. So, it looks like there's a Denver mint mark here that was punched over one just underneath it and off to the right. There's also something going on up here. It's kind of hard to see. I don't have the best quality microscope. This is what I got, but it allows me to see close enough to differentiate that, or close enough to tell that there's definitely some doubling or repunching going on here. I did check the rest of the face of the coin. I didn't see any doubling, so I think this is a repunched mint mark. Right over here, I can show you, this is a photo of one of the more desirable variations of this. It looks like almost a triple repunched mark. And this is the very valuable variation. The specification they give it is VP-002. You can look this up yourself. I also have on another tab one that I think I have. This is the 1964 RPM, which means repunched mint mark. 1964 Denver RPM 3. And as you can see from these photos, it looks pretty similar to what we have going on. Obviously, the photos are in way better condition, and the coin we have is not in, any kind of money-making state at all. But I think this is the closest one I found to what we have of known variations. These are pretty well documented on these older coins. So out of the list, I think there was 7 or so that I could pick from repunched mint marks. This one seemed to be the closest. Again, this is variation 3. You can see it there at the top. 1964 Denver, repunched mint mark, variation 3. I just thought that was interesting. Let me know what you guys think, if this actually is an RPM 3, or if you think it's something else, another variation, or if you think it's just complete garbage. Regardless, we'll set that one to the side for now and keep an eye on it until we get some confirmation. Besides that, I think we're going to conclude the hunt here. I'm going to declare Bank 1 as a clear winner based on the number of finds, the quality of finds, and the interesting finds that we don't see every day. So by far, I think Bank 1 was my favorite one. Bank 2, I don't think we'll be picking nickels up out of Loomis rolls for a little bit. Let's let that marinate a little bit and see how it sits with us later. Maybe we'll take another crack at Loomis rolls in the future. And Bank 3 was right in the middle. That 1948S was really nice. Unfortunately, I did check my book, and it is not an upgrade. I'm actually going to show you that real quick. Here is the nickel album I am currently working on. We are looking over here at 1948 San Francisco, and the one I have in here is in much better condition than the one we pulled out. The one we pulled out had some serious damage on it, so this one's a lot nicer. And actually, to prove that it's a 1948S, I'm going to pop it out of here and show you the reverse. And there we go. Just for all you superstitious ones out there, 48, and on the back, there's the little S mark right next to the Monticello. It's not pretty on the back, but it was a bit nicer on the front, and just being able to see that date is all that matters to me. It's got some okay detail. and I'm happy with that. So we have 2 of the 11.3 million minted 1948 San Franciscos. That one I'll press back into the book, and if anyone's interested, this is the 1938 to 1961 Jefferson nickel book. They're made by H.E. Harris and Company. They're pretty decent quality, and on the plus side, they are very cheap. They hold these coins in here very securely, and there's quite a bit in each book. This is just the 1938s to 1961s. I have a 2 or 3 books later than this, so all the way up to present day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a good time with this. I think we're about done here. I had a lot of fun with this hunt, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching along. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't, maybe you can teach me something. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the 64 Denver with the repunch. And let me know what you think about these finds, and whether rolls like this reflect your average, or if rolls like this reflect your average. All being said though, this was only 15 rolls. That's less than a third of a $100 nickel box. So this many finds in a third of a box is not too bad. If anyone's interested in watching how most of my finds that go into my collection are found, I live stream almost every night, multiple times a week. I put out notifications on my Twitter and on my YouTube when I can, and the live streams are all scheduled. So if you put notifications on, you'll be able to tell when I'm going to be live. You can come hang out with me as we hunt through rolls together and pull out new finds for the collection. If you look down here, I have plenty to go through. These are 2 of my boxes. I have a couple more that are not under my desk, and the penny books for when we do pennies. But for the most part, streams are nickels. They're the most fun for me to look through. So if you're interested in any of that, or you just want to stop in and chat, definitely check that out. That'll do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.